First step in the path to a successful outcome is pre-reading the required documentation and understanding the purpose of each one. Remember to print these 3 documents and bring them to site with you. First, you will use the Level 10 hardware installation guide and complete all of the installation steps before moving on to the Taco Bell configuration guide. This guide will provide general direction on how to and where to install the MX and VX devices. Next, you will follow the process in the Taco Bell configuration guide. It will lead you through the technical steps required to complete the SCA cutover process. It will also encompass a rollback procedure should you encounter technical issues that cannot be resolved with a call to support. Last is the chain of custody and customer acceptance form. This top section will be completed by you. The next section will be completed by the RGM. And last, both you and the RGM will sign this document. This fully executed form will be uploaded by you to the Level 10 portal as one of the required deliverables, and we recommend that you do that while you're on site. Again, you will need to print these documents and bring them with you so you're not relying on a device to view them. The next section will provide examples of completed MX and VX installations. This segment is constructed to help you better understand the variety of POS configurations and examples of where MX and VX devices can be installed. It is likely you will encounter a variety of POS configurations not shown in this video and will need to make an educated decision on placement with the approval of the on-site Taco Bell RGM. In this first example, the 2 MX devices were installed this way to preserve the 3-foot handoff space shown to the left. Having 3 POS lanes in this location, the MX device closest to the 3-foot handoff space had to be left unmounted and set on the raised counter. If the mount was installed, it would have impeded the 3-foot handoff space, making the site non-compliant. Should you encounter this situation, please contact Level 10 Mission Control for the next steps. Here, the MX device is installed correctly, but the communication cable connected to the MX device is not properly fastened to the pole base with Velcro. Velcro is being provided for use at each location to be used for cable management above and below the counter. Please be sure to use it. This location has a curved customer counter as well as an upper and lower handoff area. The MX on the right side was installed on the lower counter because it was the only logical placement option in this design. In this example, the MX devices were mounted on each side of the countertop shroud due to the lack of space in between the 2 shrouds. This store has a continuous raised shroud in between the 2 POS lanes. The MX on the right was installed as shown, as it was the only logical place to put it. If it was installed on the upper counter, it would not have been ADA compliant. Here is an example of why it is important to leave a minimum of 4.5 inches to the right of the MX device so the customer has enough space to swipe their card through the MSR. Here are a few examples of acceptable wire management below the counter. The Taco Bell RGM will be checking your work for neatness as it pertains to this installation. Any sloppy or incomplete cable management may result in a warranty revisit. The drive-through lanes will vary from store to store as it relates to wall type. If you have FRP, or fiberglass reinforced plastic, lining the wall, you install the cradle and breakaway hook on the wall and the clip on the back of the VX. If you have ceramic tile, glass, or stainless steel, you will simply set the VX on the counter next to the payment terminal. The installation and cutover process should take 2 hours or less if things go as expected. Anytime you encounter a complete work stoppage or technical delay, you should be contacting Level 10 Mission Control so the extra time can be tracked while you're on site. The following video segment is of an actual installation at a typical 2 POS and 1 drive-through Taco Bell and was completed within the 2-hour allotted duration. I began this installation by discussing pin pad placement with the RGM and at the same time discussed starting in the drive-thru or at the customer counter. In this case, the store had cards in the drive-thru already, so I started at the customer counter. Here I prepared the round base for installation by removing the white side of the double-sided tape disc and attaching it to the flat side of the round metal base. The 3M side will always face the countertop. Then, using the 3 small machine screws that came in the round disc packaging, I attached the mount to the round base using the Phillips screwdriver. With the pin pad in place, I cut a length of Velcro and fastened the MX communication cord to the base of the pole, making sure there is some slack in the cord so the mounted MX can pivot 180 degrees on the stand. Then I routed all of the excess cable slack back to the under-counter access hole. With all of the excess cable slack now under the counter, I cut another length of Velcro and ran a 5/8 inch screw through the middle of it and attached it to the wall under the counter. I then secured the power brick to the wall using the Velcro. Next, I neatly coiled the excess power and patch cords under the counter as well. This is the finished result. I then repeated the process for the second customer POS lane as well as the drive-thru. In this store, the drive-thru had a ceramic tile wall, so the VX device was simply set on the counter next to the POS terminal. Now that I have all of the hardware installed, I will move to the technical part of the process. First, I verify that I'm at POS 1 and I had access to the manager's menu. Next, I press the IP address config button, which opens the window with the IP info. I then write down all of the IP info so I can reference it easily in the forthcoming steps. From there, I began to enter the IP info provided to each MX and VX device. After I had the first VX IP'd, I disconnected it and brought it to the RGM and explained to him that this is the spare VX that needs to be placed in a safe location. I explained to him that in the future, if it is needed, he would need to call the Taco Bell help desk and get it paired with the POS terminal. Then I connected the second VX and entered the same IP info, this time leaving it connected. At this point, I'm ready to activate the SCA cutover, but before I do, I talk with the RGM and make sure he's aware that there will be a brief interruption of service and allow him the opportunity to prep the store staff and customers accordingly. After a few minutes, the RGM indicates to me that it's okay to proceed. With that approval, at POS 1, I simply press the Activate SCA button, then enter the password, followed by a confirmation window where I press the Activate SCA button one last time. After the system reboots, I start at the drive-thru with the pairing process. First, I press the Start POS button, which brings up the pairing code. I repeat this process on POS 2. At POS 1, it automatically starts up to the pairing window. Once the 4-digit pairing code is on the POS screen, I simply enter that code into the MX or VX device, then click on OK on the POS screen confirming a successful pairing. After all of the MX and VX devices are properly paired, I reference the section of the Taco Bell configuration document titled Verifying Successful Installation. Specifically, I observed 2 to 3 successful transactions at each of the newly installed terminals. You should now have a general understanding of the process flow and the pin pad placement considerations. It is highly recommended that the installation documents provided to you by Level 10 are reviewed before arriving on site. They contain far more detail than this video overview provides. At this time, please return to the Terms and Conditions screen in your tech panel and accept the work assignment.